Welcome to the Libra Love Lounge, the show where I read posts on Reddit and give them relationship advice. My name is Eliana Camargo, and let's jump into the first post. I find myself only wanting men who don't want me romantically. I feel like something's wrong with me. The last year or so, I've casually dated and hooked up with a handful of guys. Each time they're sweet and affectionate, loyal, and interested in dating me. I get turned off and call it off with them. I start to feel smothered too soon. It's not that I'm not looking for a relationship, I just want one that's different from my last. Less serious, more independent. I'm curious what she means by less serious. Like, I get the more independent. What do you mean you want a relationship that's less serious? You want a casual relationship? Sounds like that's what you're getting, but okay. This most recent guy, 26 male, a few dates and a hookup at the end, I get the gist where he seems not interested in being anything more than friends with benefits at the moment. Now I, 23 female, am feeling sad because I finally really like this guy and see potential. This is how it always happens. This is just the epitome of being a woman. At least I've experienced this. He attracts me like none other have, and there's just no way it could realistically work out romantically with long distance relationship factors and his lifestyle. So I'm upset, overthinking, like maybe we had sex too soon so it ruined my chances. Well, if long distance is the reason why it's not gonna work, I don't think how soon you slept with him is the reason. Or maybe I said something wrong. It's not useful to get into your head overthinking why he's treating you the way he is. You said you get the gist that he wants to be friends with benefits. Like, have y'all actually spoken about your intentions? Because that's an important thing to do, but let's keep reading. I'll probably suppress my feelings and allow a friends with benefits situation with him just because I want to keep the delusional hope in my mind that maybe one day he'll like me back. Girly pop, no, this is not the vibe. This is not how you get what you want. I feel selfish for not appreciating great guys who've come along. I feel like this is some sort of weird infatuation after rejection. I also feel alone in this and ungrateful because I read this subreddit and see all the people who struggle with finding one reciprocal relationship, and I pass up on them often. Why do I only get feelings for guys who don't feel quite the same? Oh girl, I got you, because I've been here before and I have gotten out of this pattern, and there's a lot to unpack here. First of all, you don't have to beat yourself up for not having feelings for someone who wants to be with you, because like you can't control your feelings, and you don't need to force yourself to be in a relationship with someone just because they like you, you know? You deserve to be with someone that you mutually equally are attracted to. But the problem comes when everyone you like doesn't like you, and everyone who likes you don't like them. I have been there before, and it's so frustrating when you want a relationship. You just want a very specific type of relationship or a very specific feeling in the relationship that isn't happening. And it all really stems down to you're not emotionally available to yourself. And so you're only attracted to people who are emotionally unavailable. And that's why you appear as emotionally unavailable to everyone who is emotionally unavailable. We attract the type of love that mirrors the type of love that we have for ourselves. So when you're being emotionally unavailable to yourself, you're also gonna be emotionally unavailable to good men who you could have a great relationship with, but you just aren't catching feelings for because you're emotionally unavailable. And you're only subconsciously going to allow yourself to catch feelings for someone who is emotionally unavailable themselves because it's safe. Because you know that it's never actually going to turn into a relationship. Even though consciously that's what you want, subconsciously your body's trying to keep you safe by only allowing yourself to catch feelings for people who aren't going to reciprocate. Even though in this case, you don't know if that's what's actually going on. He hasn't told you straight up that he only wants to be friends with benefits. He hasn't told you how he's feeling. I'm curious how long you've been seeing him. It says a few dates and a hookup at the end. So like one hookup. It's a terrible, terrible position to put yourself in. You suppress your feelings and be friends with benefits with someone that you actually want a relationship with just so that you can keep him around, get a taste of him, and hope that maybe one day he'll change his mind, because I can promise you in that energy, he's never going to. That's a perfect example of how you're being emotionally unavailable to yourself. Suppressing your feelings, not communicating what you want, what your needs are, not communicating your intentions with people. You know, it's fine to be sleeping around casually if that's what you genuinely want, but it sounds like you do want a relationship and you don't want to be friends with benefits with someone that you admire and want something more with. And so you're being emotionally unavailable to yourself by suppressing those feelings, by not allowing yourself to express them to this person, by not honoring your feelings and standing up for what you want, being confident in what you want and communicating that, and being secure enough in yourself that if someone isn't giving you what you want, that you feel okay walking away because you'd rather be single than be strung along by some guy who's not reciprocating the same energy that you want out of the relationship. And I know it's really hard when you want a relationship, but every guy who wants to be with you, you're just like not feeling the vibe with them. Obviously, you don't want to force yourself. And so when you finally find someone that you do feel the vibe with and they're not feeling the same way, it can be really freaking painful and annoying and frustrating and make you feel really impatient of like, God damn, like this is the first time that I've actually found someone that I vibe with and I want to be with, and he's treating me like he doesn't want to be with me. Which of course, communicate first. You don't know exactly what's going on there, but likely that's probably what's gonna end up, your intuition's probably correct, because when you have these assumptions and you're in this energetic state, it is kind of what you end up attracting. I actually filmed an entire video about how I used to be in this exact scenario and how I got out of it, and I never posted the video because I was in a relationship and I ended up ending that relationship right around the time that I was gonna post the video, and so I was like, oh, well, not that it's not applicable, because it definitely still is applicable. And just because the relationship ended doesn't mean that the pattern that I was in didn't end, So maybe I need to dust that video off from my archive and actually post it. And if I end up doing that, it'll be linked right up here on my other The Healing Fairy channel. So one way to get out of this pattern is to do some shadow work and journal a lot about your beliefs about relationships, your beliefs about yourself, your worth, your fears, everything. Because it sounds like you might have a fearful avoidant attachment style where you want love, but you're also pushing it away. You want love, but you're emotionally unavailable. I actually wrote a blog post with some shadow work journaling prompts that you could use in a situation like this to help uncover what your limiting beliefs are, which can be the first step in healing your attachment style and healing this pattern that you're in, and figuring out subconsciously why you keep attracting yourself in that scenario. So I'll link that blog post in the description so you can have some journaling prompts to work on if you watching this also happen to be in the same scenario, because this is a very common thing for people to go through. But if you don't introspect about your attachment style, about your beliefs and relationships, you're gonna find yourself in this pattern over and over and over again. You're gonna be wanting a relationship, but not wanting to be with anyone who wants to be with you, and only wanting to be with people who don't want to be with you or aren't treating you the way that you deserve. And so you gotta become emotionally available to yourself. Start listening to your emotions, start actually honoring your emotions by expressing them and expressing your desires, not suppressing your need for someone who actually reciprocates, and putting yourself in second place by continuing to see someone who only wants you for your body when you want them for more than that. That's an awful way to treat yourself. And so don't treat yourself that way if you don't want other people to treat you that way too. You have to get to a place where you love yourself so much that you're okay being single until you finally inevitably do meet someone that you reciprocally have feelings for. One affirmation that can help is, I deserve to have feelings for someone that I'm attracted to who's equally attracted to me back. Some variation of that affirmation, and make yourself really believe that inevitably one day you're going to find someone who you like, who likes you back, and hold out until you meet that person. Have enough self-love that you're not desperate and pining for a relationship until the day that you meet this person, because you're happy enough on your own until then. And at the same time, work on your fears of intimacy and your fears of opening up to someone again. You want a relationship that's different than your last, and so it sounds like there's probably some pain points that come with that last relationship. You have fears of getting into a situation that's similar to the last one, so you also need to work on the dismissive part of your attachment style and open yourself up to intimacy and heal your fear of love and heal your lack of self-love. And then you will find yourself breaking this pattern. But let's see what the comments have to say. Ask yourself why you feel smothered when guys want to commit and why you want to chase unavailable guys. I think it's kind of universal. We want what we can't have. Because if we get that unobtainable thing, we can finally have the proof that we're enough. You don't get satisfaction from guys that already want you, because as soon as you have them, conceptually you're faced with the cold hard truth that another person will never complete you and make you feel whole/enough. Because only you yourself can make yourself feel whole and enough. So you get the ick, toss aside a guy who is available and appreciated you in favor of some unavailable guy who will only ever want sex and never a relationship. relationship. That ends up usually more appealing for you because while you're chasing that unavailable guy, you get to enjoy the hope that if you can just catch him, all of your problems and pain will be solved. Spoiler, they won't and never will. You have to do it yourself. Yes, exactly. That's beautifully put. And OP responds, as confident as I feel I am, I'm afraid you're probably right. Thank you so much for that insight. I'm sure it's not even him. If he was interested in what I want, I'd probably get cold feet with him, just as I do with the rest. 100%. All right, next post. Third date, no kiss. What would you do? I'm 28 female, he's 37 male. We've gone on 3 long dates, at least 6 hours each. He's planned all of the dates, which I truly appreciate, and he definitely has nice and good ideas. We have talked a lot. Usually throughout the day, he remembers about what I say I've done, wishes me the best with stuff, follows up. I like that about him. Last date, we did some hiking and a picnic. He cooked a bunch of things. We were literally alone in the woods, sitting down, eating on a place with a roof while raining. So romantic. There was just one bench for us to sit. Perfect setup for a kiss, right? I tried getting close to him, but it's awkward as we haven't even gone past the hug stage, not even long hugs. There was not a point where I thought, yes, he's gonna make a move. Nothing. Went back home and the goodbye was a quick hug again. Interesting. Are you trying to initiate a longer hug? Cause like, I know it's kind of awkward when the other person is being a little bit awkward that you don't wanna like push it, but at this point I would be like, me personally, I would just say to them, like, give me a better hug than that, and then I would like give them a longer hug and see how that goes from there, if they're like awkward about it or if they're like, oh, okay. He doesn't really flirt with me. He tells me stuff like, I like that dress or that photo is nice, but never, you look good in that dress / photo. I told him on the first 2 dates I had a good time after the date, even that I was enjoying the getting to know him, and he reciprocated but said nothing else. After the 3rd date, I did not say I had a good time to see if he said something. He didn't. At best, he said during the date, time went by so fast. So, he's 37, he's had girlfriends. I'm confused. He invited me over for a movie and cooking dinner tomorrow, and I'm going. His Bumble profile says he's looking for a relationship. This is weird, right? Positive sign that it says he's looking for a relationship and he's not taking things super physical, and he's like actually wanting to get to know you like more on an intellectual level first. That's definitely a good sign that he is, in fact, looking for a relationship. And yeah, I can make a move, but at this point, with this no flirting, I'm thinking like, do I want to? Because I like him a lot and how he thinks and views on life, but the no touchy and no flirting makes me think either 1, he doesn't know if he likes me, or 2, he's bad at kissing / doing other stuff, or 3, he's not good with physical touch / words of affirmation. Those are my top 2 love languages, touch and words of affirmation, so I feel her pain with somebody like this. All 3 options are awful. I'm just hoping it's neither, but any insight from men or women who's had similar experiences would be appreciated. I got you, girl. Let's dive into this. Well, first, I would communicate. I've been on dates with people like this, and I'm very blunt and upfront, and I would kind of comment like, oh, you're not like a very touchy person, or you're not a very flirty person, and kind of see what they say about that. Like, don't say it in an attacking kind of way, just like in a comment. I'm also such a physically touchy person that I would be like initiating, like, I wonder if you're like having like touches on the arm or like little things like that, and see how he takes it. So I'm curious to know if you've been doing anything like that. I definitely think that it would be good in this instance to initiate some things. I personally, reading this, I'm not getting the vibe that he's not into you. It seems like he really is. You guys are going on really long dates. He wants to keep seeing you. You're talking about a lot of stuff. He seems like the type of person who needs to form like a friendship and a base connection before anything turns physical. And you know, that's totally okay if that's what he needs before things become more romantic. Hi, what's up? Come here. My cat wanted to say hi. And so it's perfectly okay and a normal thing that can happen with a lot of people, that they need an intellectual connection before things can turn romantic. And it doesn't mean he's never gonna be touchy or have words of affirmation. He just might be guarded in that way before it turns romantic. But he also very much might not be the type of person who has touch or words of affirmation high on their list, and he might not ever be at the level of touch or words of affirmation that you need. Only time will tell. I think it'd be good to bring up a conversation and ask him if he's heard of the 5 love languages. So the 5 love languages are physical touch, words of affirmation, which is like saying sweet things like you look beautiful, or I love you, I'm so proud of you, things like that. Acts of service, which is doing things like helping someone out with a chore, filling up their gas tank, washing the dishes for them, getting something from the store for them. Quality time, which is spending time together off of your phone, like actually having like eye contact, quality time, and gifts, which is pretty self-explanatory. So I would have a conversation with him and ask him about what his love languages are, what like the order of importance are, or how he feels about each of them, and see what he says. Because he might be someone who, when he's in a relationship, he's physically touchy. I've dated someone like this before. My ex was not very flirty or touchy on the first date, but then once he warmed up, he became that way. So if you really like this guy, I think it could be worth it to have patience, and after having this conversation, see how it goes and see how things progress, maybe initiate a little bit more physical touch yourself. But it's also perfectly okay if this is like giving you the ick and you're like, I'm just not feeling anything romantic here. Because I couldn't date someone who has touch and words of affirmation really low on their priorities of love languages. If someone stayed like this for the long term, or they just like weren't very, they might warm up a little bit, but they're still just not at the level that I need it, I couldn't have that in a relationship. And so if you keep getting to know him and it stays this way, he might not be the person for you. But definitely have a conversation about it for sure, and see how things evolve. See if you can get to know him on that friendship level first before it blooms into something more beautiful, more romantic. You sound super confident and happy about this, so why hold yourself back? Take the first step. A lot of men won't admit this, but I will. We can be so dense at times, it's insane. My advice would be invite him over and make a nice meal and then introduce a little wine. Try to break the touch barrier in different ways. Can be light touch on the shoulder or cuddling while watching TV. Then set the scene, make eye contact, and if it's longer than 2 seconds, then commit to that kiss. What happens afterwards is up for you to decide. This reminds me of another point, is a lot of men are fearful that they're gonna be seen as like sleazy if they're initiating too much touch, and he wants to make sure that you know that he actually wants to get to know you and form a relationship, and he's not trying to just use you for your body, and he doesn't want to make you uncomfortable. So some guys go so far in the other extreme where they're trying to make you feel comfortable and they just don't do anything at all because they're scared that you don't want that. So that could definitely be what's going on in his mind as well. He might be totally fine with physical touch, but he's just trying to keep you feeling comfortable. Another important reason to communicate about this, let him know that you want more touch, and ask him what his feelings are about that, his relationship with that love language. All right, next post. Where is the best place to find a partner? Does anyone know where is the best place to find a partner that isn't from the club? Best place. There's only one number one best place, and that is, drum roll please. Just kidding. There is no best place, but there are good places to meet a partner. That definitely is not the club or the bar. That's never, I don't think I've ever picked someone up at a club or a bar. I also don't frequent clubs or bars, so that's probably also plays a role. But people act like that's the only place you can meet people, which is just like mind-boggling to me. So I'll help you out. Well, first off, dating apps are always a thing. We all hate dating apps. We all hate them. But I've met lots of wonderful people on dating apps. My ex-boyfriend actually was from Hinge, and even though the relationship ended, it was a beautiful relationship while it lasted, and I'm so grateful and thankful for it. And so dating apps are always a solid option. I think it's like close to 50% of couples actually meet on dating apps these days. So that's always a solid one. But if you hate dating apps as much as I do, meeting in person is a lot better in so many ways. Because it can also kind of help you detach, because you never know when you're gonna meet someone that you actually vibe with in person. Whereas on a dating app, you're like actively trying to look, which puts you in a different kind of energetic state of like desperation and trying to like force something to happen, rather than when you are off dating apps and you're like, I'm just gonna meet someone in person. You kind of have to let go and surrender, because obviously you're not gonna be in situations every single day where you're meeting new people. Places to meet new people. One, go on meetup.com, which is a website where you can meet groups of people who have similar interests and do different hobbies together. 2 hobbies that I have that have me meeting new people all the time, and I've dated people from both of these hobbies that I have, is doing improv, like improv comedy, and swing dancing, which has been a lot of fun. Both are weekly activities that I'm meeting new people all the time, and the same people. If there's regulars who come, then you can slowly get to know someone, not in a romantic context, and so you can get to know what they're like as a friend first, and that I think is a really solid way to form a relationship is to have that foundation first, as opposed to a dating app where you're going into it initially, you're meeting a stranger with the intention of it being romantic. When you have like a weekly hobby where you're seeing the same people over and over again, you get to see them outside of that romantic context and actually get to know them like as a friend first, which I think is really great. So find weekly hobbies, and meetup.com can help you find them if improv and swing dancing aren't your thing. Another great way is prioritize building friendships with people of, for example, the same sex as you if you're straight, or, if you're not, just friends, people that you have zero romantic intention with, because then as you expand your social circle, you'll be invited to more parties, and then at parties you might meet people that you've never met before, and then you'll make even more friends, and those friends will invite you to things. Also, you can go to events with your friends, like, food truck events, or just any kind of look up events that are happening in your town. And at those events, you can also meet people. If you see someone that you find attractive, go up, start a conversation, compliment something that they have going on, their shoes, I don't know. Then ask if they have Instagram or Snapchat or whatever it is that you like to use for their phone number. Don't underestimate prioritizing friendships, because one, friendships are important and a beautiful part of life. The more you harbor your friendships, the less needy you feel for a relationship, because you're already getting your social needs elsewhere. But two, you can always meet people through your friends that you end up dating. So that's my advice. Weekly hobby, hanging out with friends and meeting your friends of friends and getting invited to parties and saying yes to invitations to parties where you only know one person. I personally love that. I love going to parties where I don't know anybody, because then you get to meet so many new people and you never know who you're gonna meet. People always say that it's so hard to find people when you're an adult, whether it's friends or romantic relationships, and I cannot relate, because I'm always doing social activities and being invited to things and doing weekly hobbies, going on meetup.com, so do that and you'll find people. But let's see what the comments have to say. I am looking for a partner, and OP responds, I'm a dude. Then they respond again, sorry. Damn, thought they were gonna be a love match in the Reddit comments, but I can't tell from this username if possibility number 648 is a dude too, and OP's insinuating that he's straight. I don't know. All right, next post. Showing too much attention is my biggest dating regret. I went out with a boy twice on Hinge, and we were really hitting it off. He was sweet, funny, and nice. He was a great texter too, always texting me in the morning and night, responding after less than 20 minutes. Sounds like he's anxiously attached, that's very fast. Then when I start to reciprocate his texting habits by responding quickly and enthusiastically, he responds slower and I'm left undelivered. Okay, never mind, he's not anxiously attached. Maybe he's fearful avoidant. I mean, already diagnosing him with an attachment style based off of very little information. I'm getting ahead of myself. I hate the way modern dating is, because I have to hide my feelings and respect his space. When I have a crush, I want to talk to them all the damn time. Okay, sounds like OP has an anxious attachment style. It's such a turnoff being left undelivered, so I might cut contact with him and cancel our plans for Sunday. I know he doesn't owe me anything, but at least show that you're still interested. I'm curious how long he left her on red, and if he's gone back to her at all, or if he just completely ghosted, or did he still respond the same day? Because it doesn't sound like he's acting disinterested, he's just taking a moment to respond. And I don't even want to talk about the fact that I had to initiate the third date because he wasn't talking about hanging out in the future and was just texting me. I don't want a pen pal. And there's an update. After leaving him undelivered for several hours and not responding to some of his messages, he quadruple texted me and started to make plans. Yeah, this whole shit is a gamble and a game. Dating sucks. It's not that you have to play games, but it's crazy how the psychology of how interested you appear to somebody influences how they treat you, and then it makes you feel like you have to play games and this and that. But really, at its root, it all comes down to the energetics of relationships, that if you're being too anxiously attached, if you're being too needy and clingy, if you're texting too often, if you're wanting them too much, it energetically pushes people away. And I experienced this myself. I don't think it's that crazy that if you're responding quickly and enthusiastically in less than 20 minutes, and he's also responding 20 minutes, you can't be texting all day back and forth every few minutes the entire day. That you can do that sometimes, but if a guy is responding to me too quickly too often, then I'm let me get a little bit of space here. Doesn't mean that I'm disinterested. I'm just ooh, let me be my own person for a moment, not have my entire world wrapped up in this person that I've just gone on a few dates with. I know it can be annoying because when you like someone and you're anxiously attached, sometimes you do want that. Sometimes you want your worlds to collide and you just want to like merge into one human being where you're just talking to them all the time and constantly seeing them and you want them to treat you the same way. But unfortunately, that's not the way that life works. I think it's actually a very important lesson that life teaches us in detachment and in being whole and complete in yourself, being your own person, being grounded in yourself, and not having your world be consumed by someone outside of you. And so when you try to be acting that way and you're acting anxiously attached and want someone to be your entire world, the universe is not going to allow that. And that's going to repel the other person as sort of a spiritual lesson in yourself to have a solid foundation first, a solid foundation in self-love, in focusing on yourself. And when you do that and you find peace within yourself and you're not like desperately needy of like, oh my God, when are they gonna respond? And you're not wondering if they're gonna respond or if they're still interested, you just kind of have faith and feel secure in, yes, this person likes me. I'm gonna see them on Tuesday and it doesn't matter if he takes 4 hours to respond. Like, that's not a crazy amount of time. I don't know how long is long for OP when they're leaving each other undelivered, but it's so nice and it's so peaceful having that security within yourself that you don't need constant connection with this person, that you can detach from your phone, detach from needing to hear them, trust that you will hear from them, trust that you're going to see them again and that they like you if those are the signs that they're giving you while you're together. Life's a lot more peaceful when you date from that state rather than from an anxious attachment style state. I would take your mind off of the annoyance towards the mind games that kind of are involved in modern dating and more so focus on the energetics of the connection that, you know, when you pull back your energy, that's when he starts coming towards you because that's the way that life works. So try to find a balance where you're both feeling okay, where you pull back your energy enough that you're centered within yourself, but you still feel that connection with the other person and you're still allowing yourself to text them. You're not trying to stop texting him out of like revenge or out of spite or cancel plans because he didn't respond to you within 20 minutes. Like, that's wild to me. Just, it's all a lesson in finding balance. And when you find that balance, dating will be so much more peaceful, so much better. And it won't feel like you're playing games because it'll just be natural. Let's see what the comments have to say. It might be my autism or something, but I could never wrap my head around why responding quickly is a red flag instead of a green flag to many people. Think of it less as flags and more of, it's just too much. It's too much too soon. Like, do you have anything else that's going on in your life? It's just, it can make you feel suffocated, you know? It's like, especially when you hardly know someone, you've just been on a few dates. It's not so much that it's a red flag, it's just like, ugh, like give me my space. Just energetically, it's repelling. I honestly dread when people respond too quickly sometimes because I now assume that's what they expect of me and I'm just not like that. My texting happens very wildly and my phone is on do not disturb half the time and other times I'm super into it. I agree with this too, that like you don't want to set the expectation that is how quickly you're always going to respond because stuff happens. Sometimes you're filming YouTube videos, sometimes you're at work or hanging out with friends or whatever and hours may pass by and you may not be able to respond. And there's other times where you're just chilling on your couch on your phone and you'll be able to be texting back and forth. If the other person is constantly replying quickly, it can make you feel like, oh God, no, they have this expectation of me that I'm always gonna have to respond like this. So I get that. And for our last post, we're gonna be reading a post on the love subreddit with someone gushing about their love in their life to raise our vibe, raise our spirits, and focus on the positives instead of always reading these negative things and dating woes and struggles so that we become a little less jaded in love and believe in love again. Here's the post. Holy moly, what is this new love? Thank you, universe. I'm excited. I'm excited to read about their gratitudes. I left, divorced, so it's clear, a 17-year marriage, knowing it was over for the last 12 years, but trying to hold on for the kids. Not looking for love again. Just okay with existing and growing, which is always when love finds us, is when we're just okay, we're just coasting, we're fine with life, we're not looking for it. Then I met him. As you do. The immediate shift that happened in my heart scared me. We came together seamlessly and perfectly. He's accepted and loves my kids like they are his own, always wanting the best for them and helping them work towards their goals and dreams. I love to hear that because I hear so often of relationships where someone has kids and their new partner very detached from their kids' lives and isn't really acting like a step parent. And I love hearing when a new partner comes in and they treat the kids like if they're own. I think that's how it should be. Things their father is unable to do. Even better when they have a positive male influence in their life and their father isn't stepping up to the role. I see the man he is and how wonderful he'll always be. I want to spend the rest of my life with him, and I know he wants the same. I've never had a love like this. There's no one taking more than the other. Our communication is clear and easy, even with the hard stuff. He's my best friend. He tells me every day how he can't wait to come home to me. It's the best part of his day. For years, it always felt as if I was a burden, too much to deal with. And this amazing human being actually looks forward to seeing me again. I wake up with him for work and look forward to making him breakfast and lunch. I've never felt like that. I want to take care of him. I don't feel forced to. I know love is work, but this is just easy. And when there is work to be done, we face it together. Is it wrong that this will last? Especially given my last experience, shouldn't I be full of doubt? But with him, I just know. I can feel it in my bones. I see us growing old together, playing with our grandkids. This feels like it. I'm so grateful the universe brought us together. So grateful. Oh, I love reading that. I love hearing that, especially after I was gonna say a failed relationship. I don't think any relationship ending is a failure, but after a marriage that didn't work out and that you stuck it through, even though for the last 12 years you knew that it wasn't worth it, that sucks. And it can be so difficult when you have kids and you feel like you need to stay because of them. So I'm glad that you eventually chose yourself and got out and realized that your kids deserve someone who is actually a much better father figure than it sounds like your husband was. And I'm so grateful for you for having this relationship and for having the love that you deserve and for giving us all hope that we can find somebody like this and that this is what love should feel like. It should feel easy. And obviously there's obstacles, but you work through them together as a team rather than, it feeling forced. I love that. It's so beautiful to read. And so on that note, I'm gonna end this episode here. If you wanna get the tea on more people's love lives, then you can watch another episode of the Libra Love Lounge right over here. But until next time, I'm sending you so much love. Bye.